Hey everyone, this is Joey Murphy here again, live with Joey Murphy. We got episode 11. I'm pretty excited about this one. This will probably be one of the last ones for the year because Christmas light installations is just coming about. I was just talking to Peter about how school starts and how it just starts blowing up. And every year you kind of know it's coming, but it's here, right? And so it's a really good time. New guys coming in the industry or even veterans. Peter's got a wonderful operation just from a distance. I've never been to his place, but he puts out so much content, so much videos that I believe it. I believe he's got a great operation. I love the type of business he's built. I feel like we have a lot of similarities. He's one of the ones that I feel like I'm more close to, if you had to say my business, his business, and the type of structure and the way we think and the kind of clients we attract. So I'll let Peter talk about himself and everything. I'll play some music here real quick. We'll get it fired up. Again, episode 11, Peter Quinn. He's discussing scaling his business into multiple directions, such as indoor decor, outdoor decor. I think he does quite a bit of indoor decor, more than we do for sure. So I'm super interested in seeing that type of stuff. But this is Peter, Naples, Florida. Let's bring him on stage. Hey, Peter, how you doing, man?
Hey, Joey, I'm doing well. Good to see you today. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, this is going to be exciting. I'm ready to dive into it. If anybody here's a bunch of noise, I have like 19 family members over right now in my house, and they flew in all from across the country. So I think they're all outside right now, but it's my in-laws and they're pretty rowdy. So just want to apologize for that. But let's get into Peter and all about Peter. So Peter, why don't you go ahead and tell us just a little bit about yourself and just what you want to start with?
Sure. Yeah. So as far as how we got into this, this all started kind of as my wife out with her friends. It's a random question. I think there were 4 or 5 of her girlfriends out. One of them was looking to hire someone to do their holiday lighting on their new home, and they're all talking about it. Who do you know who would do this? One of her girlfriends is a contractor in town, well-known contractor. Everyone knows who you could call. She wasn't willing to put her name behind anybody.
Yeah.
Katie caught note of that. She thought that was interesting. She knows who you could recommend. So she's just like, oh, well, my husband would love to do that. Half joking. She mentions it to me. I've told people this before. I happen to be looking at this kind of business because I just I've always loved Christmas. And unbeknownst to me, she comes back, she mentions it to me. I'm like, wow, that sounds really we should be looking at this. This sounds interesting. I never thought I'd be in a position where this is paying my mortgage and my bills and my kid, everything my kids need and all that. But at the time, I was like, yeah, I'm going to call Kim in the morning and let her know, we'd love to be able to have the opportunity to do this for her. I thought it was crazy at the time. Someone paid me $2,000 to decorate their palm trees, and here we are all these years later. So this all came back. This was my wife's doing. Katie, my wife's my business partner. She's almost exclusively on the sales side. I spend most of my time on the operations side, among other things, and selling as well. So now here we are. What was that? That was, if you count it by season, that if that was the first season, this would be our 8th season now. So I count it a little bit differently because that was 1 year. It was a case study. It wasn't really a company. Yeah. After we did that one project, that first season, I was like, okay, we should look into this, do some research, get some training. So then that year after that, it was either 10 or 11 accounts, 1 HOA entrance of those. And then it took off from there. We still decorate for half of those people in that year. And there are, people sell their houses. Some of our clients have passed away, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And now here we are. We've added in other services as far as interior services, landscape lighting, some other stuff we're working on. So
yeah, what would you say is a split of your services that you do? Because as a ballpark, maybe it's just you do some landscape lighting and everything else. Because when I see your guys' posts and everything, it's more of you just take care of the client and their needs, and you have a lot of diversity within your services. We do the same thing. Is we can do this landscape lighting. We have a huge landscape lighting portfolio, right? And then indoor decor, can you do that? And it's you guys almost can do whatever the client can dream of, and that's what I feel like you guys have built to in the short time you have. What percentages of your business is indoor, outdoor, landscape lighting? What would you say?
So the landscape lighting is what we've been doing for the shortest amount of time, but it's already surpassed the interior portion of our business. And part of the reason for that is, I like landscape lighting because I can do it all year round. Out of season, there's no urgency. I remember the first big project that we had that we did. It was in May, and we got rained out for a few days. I'm like, well, it's okay. Like when that happens in November, it's a problem, and we're dealing with it unless it's lightning. So like, I really like that side of it. So that's grown. But it's still a small percentage of what we've done. When you look at the Christmas, back to the Christmas piece, which is where it started, we are every year changing our breakdown of more and more HOA work, more and more commercial work. And that's kind of a natural progression. I thought we would get there a lot faster when we first started this company. I was convinced that like, okay, you build up your portfolio, then you'll have the opportunity to work with more management companies and you'll naturally grow into the bigger projects, which has happened. The unique challenge we have in our market is one in particular, legacy companies that are priced very aggressively. And that's all that they do. All they do is focus on HOA. Yeah. So I'm not, we're not trying to gain business by competing with them on price. We're competing with them on service level, responsiveness, fixing things faster than anybody in town does, and providing a higher level of service. I mean, it's very easy to say that. I think it can be more challenging to do it.
Well, I actually, that's the first time somebody's kind of talked to me like that in the sense of like, I'm not going to compete on price point, right? And because there are those people that do that. And even when we come in, the way we view our installation side is actually we come in and we're looking to improve the budget and not, hey, you have this budget, here's our price point, keep price point down. We don't do that. As a matter of fact, we did one property, another installer does, and kind of the same thing is happening, but then the client is a little frustrated because the type of service they're getting isn't exactly what they're hoping for. And then I'm like, well, and then we end up doing a 30% increase and they book us, right? So it's like, what's weird with that is like, if you think about that, the company that has that current bid, you're actually missing revenue within your current clients because somebody else can come in and raise it 30% and then absorb that client. If I knew that about my clients and somebody did that, I'd be psychoanalyzing everything we did, and going more hyper-focused instead we do. Like, how did we lose that? And they are is there a layer of a more premium service? And that's one thing is like Christmas light installers or lighting company or something like that. There's no real definitions of the layers because there is different variations and different layers of service you're going to get with it. But it's like, I wish there was like different terminology in the industry to say, I am more of like a designer, higher end company because of these certain reasons. It's like check boxes. And
there's a right solution for everyone, and that it is not a one size fits all. Like there are many accounts in where we operate and where you operate that they're looking for that solution, which is the most price competitive. They don't care about the service as much, and they're going to be happy with that. And there's going to be a contractor that makes a lot of money off of working with them, and it's not going to be me, and I'm fine with that. Is really what it comes down to. I'm thinking about this project that we just did. Was it last month? Almost 50 palm trees for a restaurant. It's an annual contract with maintenance, and I mean they hit it off with Katie. Most people absolutely love my wife. She's great at what she does, and he told us that we're bidding against 4 other companies. Okay. And one of them, it's basically 3 other companies because that last one, he said that this is the contact saying to Katie, he told me that he would just, well, once you get all your other numbers, give them to me and we'll just come in and we'll beat them by 10%. And that was the guy's sales pitch. So the customer says to Katie, as soon as he said that, I knew that he was out of, we were no longer considering him. Yeah. So immediately, that's what he said, because he knows this is an experienced buyer. He wasn't that other company was not talking about why they were better. all they were talking about was the thing that made them better was the 10% price difference. So to this educated buyer, well, that implies a lot of things, and it implies a lot of things that he doesn't want to be, conclusions he doesn't want to be coming to, because we're talking about options, design. We even came in and did a demo, which is something that we've never done before. But this was a good sized project that we were going to get to install in the middle of summer. So I wanted it more than most projects. I mean, you talk about the reason why I like landscape lighting now so much more is because of availability in our schedule. So things that I can open up, I want to do, like, as much as I love the interior business is very tricky because it's even more restrictive. You can't start doing that stuff and start delivering that stuff in October. It's never going to happen. Now, we build a lot of it out in advance in October and even now, but there's still a tight schedule pinch there. And now I bring up this, but I'd say this story about this guy, right? That vendor who said that our competition, well, if he's said that to most property managers would be stoked, and that would work. So not to pick on
not experienced property managers and all that stuff. And that's why I want to bring up is like the layers of the cake in the market. What kind of vendor are you getting? What kind of company? There are different variations. And like even in the DFW we're at, the market is so big. It's the fourth biggest metroplex in the United States, and it doesn't really snow here, right? It's like you can do a lot, and it's so big that like if I take 1% of this market, we'll have $1 million company, right? And it's like I just need to pick where I can't do it all. It's impossible for us to do it all. But at the same time, do I, like when I go to a sales thing and am I pitching like that one guy, his tactic going into that sales meeting is I can beat their price. Cool. Great. You got great workers that you pay low, and you have a logistical network where you can get supplies in at low cost at wholesale. That's all it says. That doesn't say the type of experience or service you're going to provide. What if that tree trips, 20 times because you're not using coaxial, the sprinklers are running, and all the outlets touch the ground? You put a timer into the outlet, and the timer's connection is literally buried in the mulch, and you don't bring it up, right? You're worried about, you'll say, I'll beat everybody's pricing. I'll say, I'm not going to beat, they can beat my pricing because I can have this, and then I'm also going to tell your problems, and I'll help you solve your problems. That's what property managers really want, not the lowest
price. We almost canceled the meeting on this one because I was concerned that they were just looking for the lowest number. Like, we made an extra phone call trying to cancel the meeting. Thankfully, that didn't happen.
You don't want to waste your time too. Like, what is your intentions? That's what everybody's trying to find, is each person's intentions with the thing. But I did talk to somebody, I won't say the project or the person or anything, but basically they bid this project, and it was a big one. Lots of trees, tip to tip, which we don't love to do or anything, right? But it's very time consuming. It's hard to speed up. That's why, and it's very expensive, and you have to fight people a little bit on the pricing with it. But he put his bid in. He didn't get it. Somebody else got it. But he said that they actually told us that we were too low. They said, we will not choose you. This isn't sustainable, right? Like, you're too low. We don't think you know what you're doing. He's like, well, how do you know if I'm too low? Maybe they take longer here than I would take longer, and therefore my labor and cost and overhead's a little bit lower, and I pass it on to you. Like, he's kind of thinking of it like that, but it's like, that's not, you have to put your mind in the headspace of the client. You do. And they're thinking this is almost an attraction. Like, people come here and they really want it perfect, and we're willing to spend this much money for this type of service. And if you come in and undercut, like you said, that guy was gone at 10%. I could beat their price by 10%. He's like, I can find 20 of you. What makes you special? And you're sitting over there and you're like, no, we don't do that. He's like, okay, you walk away from the meeting, you come into the meeting. It just is. I think guys getting started into it, especially like you said, when you first started, did you know all these things? Did along the way of this journey, are you really discovering new things about these bids and process where you become like a master salesman to commercial bids and stuff? Is that what you're finding?
I'm never going to say that we're a master of anything.
Jedi.
But I think that we get a lot better at understanding what the pain points are, because at this point, the stories that we hear from frustrated HOA board members, property managers, it's not as much of an issue on commercial properties. It's more HOAs, board members. Like, we tell them, we've heard this story already. Like, and we know who you worked with, because we drive around and we know their style. We know what they do. Like, we see, I mean, I have one of their contracts right here in front of me. it's just there are a lot of right ways to do this business. Like you're saying, you can focus on different areas of this market. The way that we choose to do this works well for us. And there's people that have different approaches, different business models that still works really well.
I think you get nestled into it, like how you picked up that piece of paper and you're like, we have another one. It's like the same thing. It's like, it's the same story. And it's like, we keep telling everybody, and it's like, we are the best service. And it's like, that's what I love, is that you're just very dedicated to the type of service you are, the people you are, and you know what makes it going to work. Right. And you just keep pressing. And I think everybody starts picking up on that. I know I picked up on it even from the DFW, and I can see it, like looking in from a distance to your company. Big fan. I think I don't know if I've said that here, but we did before. But Peter's probably my top three of people's social media. If you guys, I should pull up your website here in a bit, but with it is you have content every day. So who's posting content? I know you are, but your wife is too. Is it just you two? And that's a big thing in your company that we need.
That's all me. I mean, right now, all those Facebook and Instagram posts are scheduled as far out as Facebook lets us. I think it's like, what is it, 4 weeks, 5 weeks out, something like that. Right. So
you're saying you have 5 weeks scheduled of Facebook posts right now in place, automated.
4 posts a day, ready to go. And then any additional stuff that comes up, then like I'll put that out there throughout the time. Like, I don't know. It's like it was some of these made up holidays. It was like Dog Day the other day. And like my dog was in here barking at this new 6-foot fiberglass Santa. I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. I'll just put that
I saw that one too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I have a marketing background. That's where I came from. I still own and publish a community news magazine here in town.
Oh, wow.
So like I have 3 long-term employees, 2 that have been with me for more than 10 years. So like essentially with that business, we're in the business and are in the business of growing other businesses. And part of launching Light Up Naples was I wanted to be my own customer. I wanted to benefit from what we had created. We happen to be in Southwest Florida, which is probably where the last magazine and newspaper in the country will be printed sometime during our lifetime. So it works very well here. It's very effective. I have friends in other markets that do semi well with community type publications, but Southwest Florida is a very unique area. Florida is seasonal. Southwest Florida is seasonal to the next level. I mean, the homes that we work on that are in the community right across the street from our shop, you got 10% occupancy maybe on the streets. Like it's what it is. Now there's certain other areas we work in, it is more full-time, but even like a lot of the families that moved to our area in the COVID like migration, a lot of those people leave for the summer now too. Like, so even like you've created like a seasonal full-time person in families that are here as well. So yeah, we're super seasonal. It changes quickly for sure.
Well, you said you had a marketing. Did you go to school or anything, like a college for marketing? Or
I went to business school, which you could argue is almost like marketing school, but I mean, it's business school. I went to the University of Denver. They have the Daniels College of Business there. I was one of those guys that went to school. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to study, and I decided I wanted to take what I called more practical courses. But the reality was that like I started, when I say practical, I mean things I can use and implement, not as much theoretical stuff, right? So if you wanted to argue like an undergraduate school degree, like that's where you can go, unless you're trying to get into like, pre-med or engineering or something. But I liked the business school because the vast majority of the professors in there were retired, successful business people, that had done real stuff. And that perspective is unique. And to me, I can learn a lot more from people like that. So yeah, that feels like a whole long time ago. But yeah, that was my background. But I still use some of that stuff,
well, that's what I was going to ask is did you ever, by having that, because I was a firefighter paramedic, I grew up in Colorado Springs, even our business number is still 719, which is the area code for Colorado Springs, like Denver's 303, right? And it's like, I still know. But with that is the fire service really let me become the best business with Christmas lighting. Like when we do anchoring, rope rescue, and all that type of stuff, like I did all that stuff in it, and it all translates. How I learned tools and all of it, mechanics, how hard to work and everything, resiliency, and you can push your mind and your body even further. Like all those tools I still use to this day, and I know it's attributed to that. So a lot of guys that get started in this business young is like, well, you also have a melting pot of other people and entrepreneurs that maybe don't get into this when they're 18. Like I had 13 years of the fire service, and then I quit my job and did this full time. You know, I did about 3 years, 4 years in the Christmas, and I was doing both of them at the same time and transitioning. But I have that knowledge of the fire service and I was a flight medic, critical care medic, firefighter, truck and rescue companies, structure collapse, rope rescue, confined space, like all that I did. And so having that type of
you
knowledge,
learn how to manage stress in a stressful environment. I mean,
well, I just talking to a firefighter the other day, and he's like, "How's everything going, man?" And I said, "This is way more stressful than being a firefighter." You know, it is. To me, it is. It's hard. It's a different kind.
It's a different way of thinking.
And then how you cope with it, even as a firefighter, right? You with stress, distress, and working out and stuff like that. Sometimes as a business owner, you almost don't have enough time, believe it or not, to like go to the gym. You have to set boundaries and say, I'm going to the gym right now. As a firefighter, you're like, I'm getting paid to work out right now. You know what I mean? I don't get paid to work out as an entrepreneur. So it's even more important to like really laser focus in on that stuff. You know, that's just me though, you know?
Yeah.
How are you balancing, the entrepreneurship and the Christmas lighting stuff? Do you think I mean, I like telling people that this is hard. I do feel like very challenging. It's not like, oh, this is so easy. Everybody can do it. It's like, no, it's not.
I mean, that's a lot. That line that you said, like, I think about that a lot. My dad used to say that a lot. Like when things are challenging, he's like, Pete, if this wasn't challenging, then it wouldn't be something special. It wouldn't be something unique that you're doing and everyone would be doing it. And then great, it'd be easy. But me and Katie were actually talking about this yesterday or the day before about, the difficulty here protects it. Like I put a lot of stuff out there. People see what we're doing. I have pictures of all of our commercial accounts. Someone could go after all of my commercial accounts. They could look up who they are. Go for it. Like, I mean, it's not that simple. Will we lose some of those accounts? Of course. There are board takeovers, new people in charge, new direction, and we'll work with someone else. But like balance can be an overused word. Maybe I'm not that good at it. But I really love this stuff. Do I have as much energy and love for this, right around Thanksgiving? I might be in a different place then, but we've gotten better at not getting burned out and planning ahead. Working well ahead, especially with hurricane challenges like we had last year.
That's what I was going to ask. Those two questions was the hurricane thing, but at the same time, my birthday is November 19th, which is like the worst time in the world to have a birthday. but you don't have your birthday in the season, do you?
Well, my birthday is 2 days before Christmas. It's been that way my whole life. I didn't have a choice in the matter. I've always been used to, Christmas is there. Christmas is right there with it. But I think everybody always like remembered that. Like when I was younger, it's like, oh, it's too bad it's right next to it. But it's like everyone in my whole family, an extended family, like no one's forgetting about this because they think about it. So I don't know. It's what it is. Katie's is right in prime time, November 10th. Like that's like crunch time, especially on the interior business too. So, I mean, I used to joke about how like we should reschedule Thanksgiving for the 4th of July and do a big thing then.
That's a good idea. The fiscal year Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But, I don't know. Like, I think we've gotten better at it, but look, we have been very selective with which accounts, like on the HOA side of things. We didn't offer renewal to a couple of accounts that were right on the beach. We referred one of my friends to him. He's got him. He grew it. He's super stoked, but it just wasn't the right fit for us. I want to focus on accounts that I can do early, that we can do next week. Like we just started this past week where you've got a majority of the ticket is on lights. So lights, of course, can be installed early, not turned on. But some of these jobs that have come to us interested in working with us, if you got a 90% garland job, I'm really not that interested in it. I'm just not. Like, it's especially this year. Okay. Like,
With the
that
tariffs,
airspace on those
yeah,
containers is a lot
yeah,
more expensive, and it's going to adjust. I mean, you could argue the inventory you're holding now all of a sudden is a lot more valuable, but if you overbuy and then things change and now everyone's buying it at a 30%, 50% discount next season, now you're at a disadvantage. So these are all the little things I think through here, but we're also established. We're in a position where we can make these calls. I wasn't talking like this in the first couple of years, but it's not as if there's a never-ending amount of time and abundance of labor. Like it's not a never-ending thing. And there are only so many dates in November. That's just what it comes down
you,
to.
you said like I don't like the thing balance, but balance is that is I'm not interested in that, and I say no to that. Okay, some
Well,
people are like,
I was
giving it to
thinking,
me, and
I'm
it's like
saying that in terms of life balance, personal
right,
balance,
right.
But when
I
you
get
talk about like diversifying our services, you're probably asking in terms of like services, in terms of, okay, landscaping, interior divisions, right?
right.
Well, permanent lighting, any event light, wedding lighting, stuff like that. But I also try to look at it in terms of the HOA business model it's a totally different business model. It's a different type of client. It's a different sales cycle. It's a different schedule, where the HOA installs are their own category, and those are a different category than the commercial businesses. And then there's residential. They're all completely different categories, and you look at when you can do them. I didn't used to like HOA as much as I do now. Why? Because I can do it in September. And that's our industry standard in our area. It just took me some time to figure this out. Before we started this, I remember Katie was at this mall in Estero, just north of us, which we have bid on that project since then. They were installing in July. Like the company that's been around here for 20 years. So in our area, it's normal on commercial properties. Once we figured all that out, it's like we got to go after these ones. And now it's officially written into our contract that we can do this in September. It's not like a handshake. It's not like a discussion with the board. It's part of it. And if you don't have everything trimmed and you have to delay it, then we can't guarantee any longer that it will be up at Thanksgiving.
It's those hard terms and conditions. We do the same thing, and it's like if it ain't on the sheet, but I'm going to say I'm coming in September. I am, and I make it a point that I'm doing it because I want them to say, yeah, that's totally fine. Which in our market, you can do that. You can just don't plug it in, right? And get undercover tree wraps is what we call it. So a lot of tree wraps are happening right now,
And we've even experimented with offering some preferred pricing for the first week of December. And we've been doing that recently because no one ever asks for that. So we want to fill that in, and we want to extend that season because what started happening in the last month, I think there were 2 people that like they're not even here. We're bidding more stuff without meeting people, which I don't really like. I want to have a face-to-face interaction, but if that's the opportunity, that's the opportunity. And these people are only going to be here for like 10 days, or they're coming in 6 days before Christmas. So let's schedule it for December 12th, December 10th, something like that. Why not? Like, I don't know about you, but like for the most part, everybody calling in November, which I consider late, is asked they want it up by Thanksgiving. It's just that's what they want. So I want to keep filling in. I want to fill the time in that is available that not everybody else wants. That's really what it comes to.
Let me ask this one because I do want to ask you about this. I know I met DM'd when this kind of happened, but I think it was last year or something. You guys were going to have a hurricane coming in, and I was watching you guys install these trees and everything else, and they're like, no, like palm trees are going to fall over, and I'm like, ooh, how much stuff does that guy have out? Because I'd be kind of, my blood pressure would be raising as it's starting to get closer. Like I'd be watching the news, like is it digressing? Is it increasing? How did that all go for you?
Super stressful, man. Like we got hit really hard in Ian, which was 2 years ago. Okay. That was where, this one marina that we decorated, they had the water was up through the ceiling. They had an 8-foot water line inside their office. This again during Ian. We hadn't started installing yet in Ian. We were supposed to start Monday. Ian hit on Tuesday, so we didn't have stuff out. Again, I'm bringing back the clock to 2 years ago, and that was a very, very bad storm, unprecedented storm surge, 12 to 15 feet on the beach. It was bad last year too with Milton, but of course, north of us got it worse.
Yeah.
Having said that, if there is no actual storm damage with a hurricane in our season, well, that's peak selling season. So even if there's no actual physical damage, before you even get into physical damage, no one's calling to talk about happy, joyful, wonderful stuff, Christmas, when their neighbors are suffering. Of course, you're focused on. I mean, we've had the exception where the storms come in, someone submits their deposit because they want to cheer up their wife. Like that has happened. We've had that conversation, but that's the exception. So we have that issue. But as far as what we had, getting to your question, this past year, we had 3 weeks of installs behind us. We do not do the installs in the palm fronds early in September, because I'm talking like in the actual fronds, not the trunk. We zip tie them into the fronds. Well, we can attach it great to the frond, but we can't keep the frond attached to the tree. So like in my community where I live, which we don't do the entrance for, I don't want to do the entrance where I live. I pull out like right once the wind had died enough, and we had like 2 fronds hanging. The only thing holding them was because the company that does it had already installed. The only thing holding the fronds up are the lights, right? Yeah. So that looks really bad. Now they did a great job. That company, they got out there and they had it fixed the next day. But in years past, when stuff like that has happened, they typically have taken a little bit longer. So that's the one type of decorating that we do want to stay away from. None of the roofline stuff gets messed up. Everything was fine there. We have more problems with squirrels running on them and birds landing on it than wind issues. We have transitioned over to all coax and in many cases low voltage minis. The Edison sets that I had out that were installed, they all went into the dumpster. I noticed a significantly higher failure rate throughout the season on any sets that were installed pre-hurricane. And part of the reason for that was that this was a very dry storm. Okay, so we usually have a lot more freshwater rain in the storm, and we didn't have that. So what had happened was, that salt blast in the air, it's incredibly corrosive, like so much so it's like if you're doing an install on the beach, the lights that you install on the beach side of the hotel are going to corrode and fail faster than the ones that are over by the valet parking on the other side of the beach.
Yeah.
So, where am I going with this? Those lights needed to be taken down. Without the freshwater rinse, we were every morning driving in to the shop in the dark. It looked like lightning in the weeks after the storm. It was not lightning. It was transformers exploding. So the power, I'm talking like FPL, like real transformers. So we had countless clients and friends who they didn't even lose power in the storm. And now it's all intermittent. And now you're dealing with all these surges, but it looked like a lightning show in my 15-minute drive into the shop in the morning. So they actually, FPL hired a contractor, and you'd see them around town because they were being escorted with a cop to block off traffic, where they were pressure washing the transformers. Like, so like, and replacing a lot of them. So again, I see, okay, you got transformers exploding, some cheap little Christmas lights. Like, obviously we're going to have some issues. So, in some of those sets, I might have put one more season on them. They were getting, some of those that I'm talking about were close. Some of them weren't close. And I'm just like, it is not worth the hassle of dealing with replacing these throughout the season, and mainly more for this year. But we lost 5 days of installing that had already been baked, pre-scheduled. I had written the schedule to have Sundays off. and we just filled all the Sundays in. Like, I'm really not good at taking breaks. So that was our solution. This year, I have built in a little bit more flexibility. We got started earlier by now 3 weeks since the August start. So in theory, we have more room here. Right now, go ahead. What's that?
I like the strategy and tactics there, but you're adapting to your environment, right? You're getting acclimated through time. Like how I treat it here in Texas and how you have to treat your lighting company there, the things you have to consider. I'm not seeing that. I wouldn't ever see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We see different things, but not that, and so that's what's super fascinating, especially talking to everybody in this industry is you end up finding out that Christmas is not the same everywhere for every type of company. You could be good in your area, but doesn't mean you will be good in Naples, Florida. Right. And that's why you said you post your projects, you're very proud of them. And this is the service we provide. And these are the relationships we're making. But at the same time, are you at the level where you're acclimated enough in your area with the industry to provide the best service? And you can hear when you talk that you understand the area, you understand down to the level of the problems you're about to face so that there is less hardships in the future. And I feel like that's what a lot of this business is preparing for a storm, whether it's even physical or whether it's in your mind or if it's in your business or something. There's so many things to tackle. And that's why you can talk hours and hours and hours. You end up becoming an expert in your area because it's like, well, what topic do you want to talk about? We can talk about transformers blowing up and all this stuff and hurricanes and stuff like that. And how are you going to react to it? That's the biggest thing is when adversity hits you, how are you going to deal with it? And did you already plan for it? Because when you don't plan for it, you deal with it differently. And it is a lot of stress. And then you become overreactive. You make impulsive decisions like, let's get some more guys in here. Just get some more guys in here. I need hands. No, it is hands, but it's also strategic, tactical hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what we've experienced over here. So I wanted to go ahead.
No, real quick, and those storm delays, you got to understand, there's a really fine line between I don't want you here, coming here, and where the hell are you? I feel weird with you coming and decorating my house right now because I have neighbors that are in really bad situations. They lost their house, they have whatever. But then all of a sudden, it's 2 weeks later, and it's like, this has to happen. It has to happen. So Christmas is coming. There's no flexibility in it. We can't push it back. I tend to look at those types of challenges as great opportunities to really differentiate yourself when it gets harder.
Too is if you're prepared and you can react and you have the resiliencies to overcome that adversity and a plan and position in place to even take up more market share. Because guess who's going to falter in those? The companies who aren't prepared for that type of stuff when it hits.
Yep.
Right. And then they're scrambling and maybe they got to refund clients because they can't get them, so that's the juicy stuff right there about Christmas lighting and business. And like you said, is we don't want you here, but then where are you now? 2 weeks later, we get that all the time, like Christmas already. And it's not just, it's even online and stuff like that, or we're writing. I mean, you see us all the time because we're always moving all throughout the year, but it's the same thing as when is a good time for you? Because a good time for you may not be a good time for us. We have to plan this. It's a planning. That's why our proposal process, it's not install and take down lights. There's 10 steps that we check off in our CRM, in our system of little things. Like you said, I can't do the fronts because one of them breaks off, that it's like this phases of project management. And then it's like, hey, we're behind on your phase. We're behind on your phase. And you keep reminding them. And I feel like that's constantly what we do too. And that's why we become good communicators, is because they don't think they need to be in this spot right now. And I'm like, you're already late. And it's step 4. Okay. The step 4 to 5, taking way too long. We need to do this right now. And most of the time our clients love that. They really do like to be told that they're behind and stuff. Cause guess what? We keep you up and you never are behind. So I think we had
some great customers that were super accommodating and nice to us, like in those days after the storm, where it's like we get back out, we start installing, we don't even have power in our warehouse. We don't even have power on the houses we're working on. And with this power surge, you hear all these people we work for have in-house home backup generators. So we would hear them tripping back on, turning off, come back up because of all those transformer explosions we were talking about. But that's part of we install off of battery packs, which are just like basic, like little baby generators.
Yeah.
And we've always used those for HOA installs too, because a lot of times nobody knows where the photocell is to turn the outlets on.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
just one of those other little things that helps a lot for sure.
Well, love it, dude. That's awesome. Great perspective. I definitely took some. I did not know so that you've had those type of experiences because I don't deal with those type of things, you know. So
Yeah.
definitely good knowledge to share. I wanted to ask you. I got a couple just questions for us to stay on topic and just pound through this and keep it within
Yeah.
a good time frame. But this right here, because you get two passionate people about Christmas lights together, it doesn't end. It does not end. Like I was up last night till like midnight talking to somebody, and I would look at the phone. I'm like, 2 hours. I need to go to bed, man. Like, you know, and but I do like talking to other people's because at the same time is you don't have that person right beside you all the time to consult. You do your own, you know, business, and same thing with my wife and my employees and stuff. But at the same time, an owner, like the weight you're carrying and stuff, it's like that's a really nobody's carrying all that weight, and it's nice to talk to somebody who is. But with it is I really wanted to get your take on the indoor and outdoor decoration scene because a lot of guys do outdoor and then they want to go to indoor, and that's a whole different beast, right? It really is. And I wanted to get your take on it because you guys do it really well. And while you talk, I'm going to share your website, and maybe just as you talk, and I may find some of these, you know, projects and stuff. Go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, so even like you got a lot of good stuff on our Facebook page. So we've been posting like a mix of our services lately on our Facebook page, from landscape lighting to the interior, which is different, of course, than the exterior. So that photo that you see right there, that project was 3 years ago now. That was one of our, we were just getting into all of this then, and we got a call from our client in August that they were going to be featured on the cover of Naples Illustrated lifestyle magazine in town, December edition, and they needed to do the photo shoot in September, and they needed us to come and decorate their house for the photo shoot. And I was like, all right, let's figure this out. Like, this is not a time when people need us. We'll just start the season. We basically made that the kickoff of the season. So we did the exterior decor like we normally would do early, except we actually put up garland for some of their outside shots, which was hilarious to me in September. And then we set up all the interior to be staged and installed on one morning. And this was the first time we ever did it this way. We experimented this way. You can actually see if you look closely at the bottom of that tree, there's no skirt on it yet when this picture was taken. And those are wheels on a chair, just like the chairs we're sitting on right now. So we started experimenting with pre-decorating these trees and wheeling them in. So now we're more mindful of door heights, threshold, access. So we installed this project, 2 trees, the garland, there's all different extra accent work, other pieces, and we had it out of the house broken down by 9 p.m. that night. We were not expecting to take it down at the time. Like, I think if my client had told us ahead of it, we want it in and out in a day, I said, that's insane. But we're there. The photos are done. It's just past sunset. I have a crew there helping with stuff. He's like, you can get it out of here now. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go. Let's take it down. So we did. And that was like a case study of trying out these wheels. And now we do the wheel method with every tree smaller than 12 feet.
So how do you transport them then? Because even when I got into it, it was like, use a box truck, but then like, how do you secure it? So when you're driving down the road,
you got to be real careful. So if you have too much weight on it, you'll break the pipe. If you need to loosen up the screws so it has a little bit of flex, but not too much flex, because if it has too much flex, then it'll bend the pipe. But if it's too tight, it's going to crack the pipe. You got to do them in different sections. You can't put glass on ahead of time. So if you're dealing with any glass pieces, that has to be done on site, and you can put on what I'll call the foundational pieces ahead of time. But there are tremendous advantages to decorating it off site. You don't have someone looking over your shoulder. If you have more time to improve a design, you could get 4 seasons of experience just by building them in July at your shop. Do it, take it down, do it again, take it down, make it 5% better each time. It's more time consuming, for sure, but it allows you to to do it without, all the residents walking by. If you're in a clubhouse, I mean, we do retirement homes where, everybody walking by is stopping for a few minutes to give you their opinion on it, and that's fun. We like that, but it's a different type of environment for sure. So
But you're perfecting your craft, like you're getting reps in.
yeah,
It's training, and do it 5%
exactly.
better, 5% better until it's like I don't
Yeah.
know if we can get this any better. Perfect. Let's run that and see it in real time. And then how much money and time did we save by doing this and speeding ourselves up? Like right
And
now,
got better at it. Yeah.
yeah, we have like 60,000 feet. Now we're using it, and so I think it's right at 60,000 feet prepped right now of C9s, like ready to be deployed. And
For
it's
new
like we do this,
customers, wow, that's a lot.
yeah. Yeah, and we got a mixture of different colors, Linetics, and I don't care because with it is when we get it is we can literally do it the next day, and we don't have to
Yeah,
be like, oh, we need a bunch of preppers in here, and like I don't
sure.
want any prepping in season almost unless it's like an emergency type thing where like we just closed this deal, we got to get in, we got to build this thing. Even when we build our displays and it's a 3-dimensional display or something, is can this fit in the trailer as one piece? Can I load this on the flat trailer and take it where we just pick it up? I know me and Chelsea, we did last year. I'm like, we're going to go do this. We're not going to even send crews to do this, but we have a huge range to do this. And it's setting up 2 9-foot deer and a 12-foot deer. And all of them were assembled together and we put it on a 20-foot flat trailer. They all fit on there. We strapped them down. We went to this medium, threw them up, anchored them down, ran power. By the time we left our shop to completing the anchoring, it was 1 hour. And that was a lot of money within that time, but we had to prep it. We had to do all this stuff beforehand so we can deploy quickly. And that's how I feel like, everything just kind of goes up quickly is the indoor decor with stuff like that, man, all the pieces. And then how do you store it? Do you wrap it? Do you put it in their own individual cases? How do you find these things and store them in your warehouse? It's a whole different beast than just, hey, take these lights and lasso them and then put them in the bin. It's not that way,
It is. And you got some trade-offs in quality where, we tell our customers, and we have our portfolio hardcover lookbook, like most people call it. But when we're flipping through that, we explain like the exterior work, the photos show the quality. The interior, a photo will never show how good it looks on interior. You need to get your hands on it. You need to see it yourself. And that's why like we do like to bring clients into our showroom so they can look at the stuff on the interior stuff.
You guys have a beautiful showroom too.
Thank you. Yeah, but like it's a very, very, very different business. And then as far as like, okay, glass versus everything else. All right. So glass is more expensive. Glass breaks, but it lasts longer and it doesn't scratch as easy. And you have these beautiful shiny ornaments that like a basic like Vickerman shiny coated, ornament.
Yeah.
That thing scratches if you look at it wrong.
I know.
And it looks beautiful and it's what's called for and it's what's needed. But you got to look at the cost of that and like keeping it around, how many years you're going to get out of it. Interior is nice in the sense that you rarely have maintenance because, squirrels don't bite cords inside people's houses. But it's more personal. Okay. So you have a different type of person and different skill set that's working inside of a home where many of your customers want to hang around and talk with you as this is happening. That's not what you're used to on the outside. Some people are like that on the outside, but it's rare. It's just, it's very different. And in the interior, again, more personal, it's more of an interior design function. I've been very strict on the outside with like, okay, you want this red bow or do you want this red bow? We also have a blue bow. We also have a white bow. Those are your choices. Now I have you. It's funny I'm saying this. We're looking at the baby blue custom.
I know. I was saying,
on here.
That's
right
a custom one.
That is a custom one, and that was the one I was talking about with this car dealership where they wanted to match that like classic Gulf logo.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use that for them most likely. But again, I say this because I don't have 100 choices for exterior bows. But when you get inside, we strive to strike that right balance of custom and then efficient and profitable, and we are very customized. If you get too customized, it's hard to copy it over too. So
Yeah.
I just think that inside, you know, I mean, you look behind me, I have all this interior like flowers and picks in this particular
Yeah.
room in here, and there's
Lots of
just
SKUs. Lots and
we
lots of
try to
SKUs.
pull colors off of walls. We see, you know, what is the thing that's most important to them in that living area, and then Katie takes, you know, starts with one ornament or one flower or one type of pick, and that's the starting point, and that's the inspiration that's tied to something, whether it was a story that the person told or whether it's something that's on their walls, and then you build it out from there. But we want to be highly customized. That's what we are, and that's how we approach it. And you just gotta you gotta think long term with the interior business. I think a little bit more on the
Yeah.
outside. That's
Yeah.
all. It's very very different for sure.
I love your design process and thought process and workflow. I mean, we are almost we have a lot of commonalities in how we do ours as well, and that's the way we think of it. And it's a design. That's why you end up being like, what type of Christmas light company are you in? And it's like, well, we specialize design. You know, we can source and get these things, and not every company can do that. It is hard. It's a lot of SKUs, a lot of things to keep up with, a lot of inventory management, a lot of logistics. It's just crazy. But that's your showroom there. I know you guys go like Peter, go like his page, go add him as friend, go follow his actual business page too, everything. Check him out, because he's somebody I watch, and it is inspirational to kind of see the work you put into it, and that you do share it as good. Like you said, you've got 4 or 5 weeks planned out of automated flow of posts. And it's like, how many people have that in this industry? Really, truly. And it's like, you're posting and you're doing all the right things. And that's why I love watching it. It's almost like a daily thing. That's why I go to Facebook, because I'm going to Peter's page and I'm like, what's he up to today? What's he doing today?
Oh man. Look, I've always loved taking pictures. You know, I think I mean, I took my first photography class when I was like 13 or 14 years old. You know, we had a dark room in our high school. I was learning, you know, they shut the thing down like right after I graduated, you know, like they still had stuff like that. I have always had an eye, and anything that you could do to get anybody on your team to be better at taking photos will go a very, very long way. Of course, it's always best to hire a professional photographer, and some of our work is done by professional photographers. But the best camera is the one that you have in your pocket with you, the camera that you have available at that point. And if you got your phones are phenomenal now. They're not what you know, every couple of years it gets even stronger, it gets even better. And your tech might be there in the dark finishing up a job. Give them some pointers on where to stand, angles, stuff like that. Like, give it a shot. Because man, I wish I had photos of every project we've ever done. You know, you see we have a lot of pictures, but we still aspire to get photos of everything. And it is so critically important. I mean, you probably see someone every other day in all these different Facebook groups asking for photos to start their business off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Just remember it's sometimes it's hard to think about that in the pace of the season of how important that is, but that's what sets you up for the next season and everything else going forward. I mean, every single thing that you see on our social media is our own work. None of that is borrowed from anyone else. I've given some of my photos to a couple friends in the country, but I told them, you can only use this if you put your watermark on it. Like, I'm not having this out there, and you need to protect it too, like it's your own, for sure. And it's a lot of volume. Nobody has the portfolio in our market that we do. Now, there are companies that do very high quality work. I don't think they're as good at showing people that they do high quality work as they are at the work itself. You know, those are two different things.
It's like a disconnect of, you're not really cataloging all your projects correctly and everything. And that's been a downside for us too, because I'm like, why don't we have pictures of that? That's why we changed our proposal process, our workflow, you know, mandatory that photos get taken at every job site, not only for marketing, but other reasons. We're doing something new this year too, for crews and stuff that just hate taking photos and stuff. How do I make this easy for them and everything? But each crew will get one set of meta glasses. So they're going to have meta glasses, and they can record and they can upload it to our CRM, but at the same time take pictures. Now, your phone's going to be higher resolution than those meta glasses. They'll get better and better over time, But when you like, there's no excuse to not take pictures, because a lot of times it's like, well, guys will be like, well, I'm busy, I'm using both of my hands, you know. It's like, I totally get it, because I'm the same way. I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Those glasses are sweet.
Yeah. And so
I've
you can
used
do a
them a
couple
little bit.
different things with them and everything, but if you can take photos and do site maintenances and stuff, and you get that good photo or you get a good angle, you're like, man, when I get down, I'm going to take this. That's what we're incentivizing, to have just amazing content. But can you imagine, each crew had a set of glasses and they're wrapping trees, and I'm like, at each job site, I want 2 recordings, bare minimum.
Yeah.
And you wear them in it. And it's like, they're I think it's going to increase our content and more posts and stuff like that, you know. So that's what we're doing. If anybody does do that, I know Ron Roby, he commented on here, he's doing that as well. And I think AI could get to the point where your crews are wearing meta glasses and you can see them on a dashboard in real time, like running and installing and stuff. Like, technology could get there, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You're just real time.
I mean, the government's been doing that for years. We're not that far behind it. So,
well, let's talk about RGB stuff. I've done a lot, and looks like here's some like X-Light stuff and props and pixels and nodes, and but with it is, what all products have you installed? I know I saw you do transparent wire twinkly, because we know twinkly, we do a lot of twinkly, and been doing it since 2019, I think was the first year, maybe 2018, but 2019, and they were only like 1-year-old company at that time, you know. It's like, but
I bought some twinkly lights to play with in 2020. It could have been 19, but they were in their second or first year, whatever it was. And at the time, like, I presented it to some customers, but I was very not trusting of the whole app system. Like, I was like, this is an app, you know, apps get updated. And then, you know, I did hear a lot of stories of, like, I know they did some updates in November and peak install season once a whole bunch of stuff was out. You know, it wasn't a company founded by installers. They have some phenomenal products, you know. So what you saw on that twinkly install that we did recently, that was actually where I used those same lights for that restaurant that I told you about as part of our demo. So we set that up as that was the McLaren. Then we came in with the KOS S4 lights. That was the G-Wagon. And then we came in with the standard warm white coax. And that was your, you know, like classic Mercedes, whatever it is. I just, like, some of our customers understand this car analogy stuff, right? No one needs a McLaren, but they want it. It's high performing. It's over the top. It's unnecessary. That's twinkly, right? A lot of our customers, you know, they don't need that. They understand it. So that was why we presented it that way. I think twinkly is like super cool, but it's just not something that we pushed hard, because I've been, again, nervous about the apps. What we've been doing a hell of a lot of are the 5mm sets. We got into it. Let me see. Where did I write down these years? So 2021 was when S4 said they were going to come out with the KOS. All right. It got delayed 3 years. They kept delaying it because of these chip shortages. And then they got chips. They told me that it didn't meet their quality standard as much as it, and they kept delaying it. So as much as that frustrated me, I loved hearing that, because I knew the moment that they released it, it was going to be sweet. And it has,
testing, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah, because they're not going to put it out unless it's good. Now, the other company that I bought them from, the guys in Omaha, right? So they came out with their color changing set, super popular. You know, when I first saw this product, I was like, okay, this is going to help me. I'm talking on the 5mm minis with the 3 diode, no warm white diode in it yet. Red, green, blue.
Is this with like the RF IF remote?
Yes.
And it's not an app, right? Okay.
Yes. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is phenomenal. This could be an inventory savings where I don't need to stock 17 different colors, and I could use it for that purpose. And I can incentivize early installs for people who want the light, who don't really care about Halloween, but they kind of like Halloween, and be like, hey, we could come and install this early for you, and we can set it on Halloween colors. So initially, that's the way I was thinking about this. I was like, this is going to be awesome. We had so many service problems with those lights. The controllers don't do well with moisture. We kept everything working. We kept everything fixed. There would be these diodes, like I would call it like a rogue bulb, where it would just do whatever the hell it wanted. And then you had, if you look in this photo that's actually up on the screen right now, that's that light set in those multicolored. And I love that multi because it has this like magenta color and it has an aqua in it. But
Yeah.
that multi setting, I had them set up on my house. Every night I'd come home, it would be like slightly different densities on the multi. So it
Yeah.
didn't look like wrong, but I'm like, okay, if this was something that did this on purpose, this would be awesome because I could sell it and be like, every
Yeah.
night you come home, it's gonna be slightly
Yeah.
different. So the I was concerned, again, the majority of the service calls we had were from these light sets, but everyone loved them. We kept everyone happy. We didn't upset anyone. We installed thousands of these. So we used those for 3 years, and then last year was the first year we had the newer version of the KOS, which I guess they're calling like the 138, and it's fantastic. Like, it's not an RF control; it's hardwire controller that retains the settings. I wasn't going around dealing with weird changing the setting. We had so many issues with that other one I was telling you about, where like they warranted all of our controllers. It was like 130 of them. And they came out with a new model. It's a different mold, slightly different construction. And those had issues too.
Is it like a better IP rating with those controllers? Like, what was the IP rating of the old ones?
I
And what's
don't
the new one?
know.
And it's
I
like,
don't even remember.
yeah.
But
But it was failing. It doesn't
it
work.
was
Yeah.
what we actually did that year. So in the 3rd year of using them, we wired the controllers about 5 feet off the ground because the moisture issue was with irrigation, not with rain.
Yeah.
See, I don't know where it is with you, but like, we have landscapers working in irrigation running all the time. So
Yeah, we do.
irrigation blasting this stuff and just like getting into it, it was part of the issue. Now, did it help? Yes, it did help, but we still were dealing with these inconsistent issues. So yeah, the switch over last season was awesome. It was great. I mean, and like, we were one of the first people in the country to get those because like I've been hounding our rep for these. Like, I wanted them, since I first heard about it. I was really, really, really happy. And then of course, the pallet that those were in hit the distribution center in Fort Myers 4 days before the hurricane came, and we're not a priority enough customer to that freight company. So they just sat there, and I was calling them every day. Like, can I come pick it up? We had releases signed. I sent the truck there to go get it ourselves. It was stuck there for almost 20 days in Fort Myers.
Holy moly.
Which is like a, 25-minute drive from where I am right now. So that made it a little more stressful. So now we're going to be able to get, all that stuff installed even earlier. Like, we were still able to install that stuff halfway to 2/3 through October, but I want all that stuff in the first week of October. And now we'll be able to do that, pending any unique weather challenges.
Yeah, I've picked up a lot of freight stuff from terminals and stuff like that are here in the DFW because I'm like, I can't wait anymore. I will come there. Do not put on truck. Do not delay. Do not tell me to fly. Just
and they had a weird handoff thing where the freight company that picked it up from S4, it was handed to somebody else. So that was like another complication on the release. But this is where like getting ahead of shipping is so important. Don't wait till if you need to wait, fine, wait. If you've got the cash to not wait, don't wait. I mean, it becomes less predictable. That's all. It's just
absolutely. I mean, that's what we do is we're planning, and we hit like I said, there's 10 marks, and that one mark even has different layers in it with getting the supplies. It's securing supplies is one of the steps. Right. So then we have to make sure everything is staged and ready to go. Like, that's confirmed before we can send crews out to go do the job because the materials are here. Right. And it's all these things. But then if it's 20 days behind, then you're finding different solutions to get this stuff faster to you. And trust me, I've dealt with the same stuff, and it is a variable that you also feel like you can't control as much. Right. They're almost like hey, our processes, and there's a special paperwork and stuff. And you're like, you guys, I'm coming to the facility. I bought this stuff and I want to just take it. Okay. I'm making your job a little bit easier.
Yeah. I don't know. I was looking at it that way. Yeah. So it's just, and on the interior items, especially this year, you need even more time. A lot of the importers, I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say a lot of, enough of them that I know of, they adjusted their order quantities. Not everybody has the cash to just keep doing what they're doing and pay those tariff rates the way that they are. What they're going to do is just bring a little bit less stuff into the country. So everything will be in the country this year. It's going to be a little bit more like potentially the COVID year, where the COVID year, I expanded the number of people that we bought materials from fourfold. That was where I started learning a lot about different distribution companies and how they do, because not everything was in the country, but not everybody had everything. Right. It was crazy.
Right. And we're getting into a weird spot, and booking is high. And if your service is high, you're just growing. And like even this year, from when we ended in January till now in the off season, we increased the business by 50% more. And I've never really done that, especially when every year you're growing like this. And then you go to that massive jump of that chunk. And it's like the logistics, the manpower, the resources, just all of it it's so much. But when that comes in and saying Christmas is in such demand, maybe our business is doing the right thing, but the same thing. Where's the cash? Where's your deposits? Because I got to order a ton of stuff really quickly. I got to have the space for it. We got to prep for it. It's more money, more problems, right? And at the same time is, what are you going to do with your planning, with your project management, where you can make it as easy as possible? It's like you get that cash, you spend it, and you get your stuff in, because that's one thing. There's manpower, there's supplies, and then there's clientele. So can you find the guys to do the jobs? Can you get the clients to actually book you for the jobs, and then the materials for the jobs? Most of the time people have a problem with manpower, but don't forget logistics is a problem, especially if you order late and then you're prepping on site and stuff. What a waste of revenue. You know what I mean?
Or then you got guys going into overtime, and then you're paying more because you didn't prep it right now,
and you're losing money again. Either way, you're all around, you're losing money. And it's just like, this was not good. So I did want to move on, because I do have some palm trees actually that here in Texas, even though they're not the same. There's all different kinds of palm trees, and like you said, the fronds, you can zip tie the fronds. But then windy season, you explained the fronds falling down. But is there any good tips for anybody who may be starting new or hasn't even done palm trees before, and that's in their area? Like in Texas, we do have some palm trees. Some of them die and stuff like that because it's like not the best place for them. But with it is, these things can be decorated around here. And do you have any like tips or tricks or anything?
Every species is a little bit different. Okay, so like the tree that you see in that windy season photo, right, that's on the screen, that's called a royal palm. And what that is there is that's a light that ripped off that was in the fronds when a cold front came in, probably 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. That area that's right there is called the boot of the tree. It's the green area that goes in between what you call the top of the trunk up into the front. That is a new area of frond growth. That stuff on this type of palm naturally sheds off the tree. Inexperienced new installers, mostly will wrap that. I know a guy, he's since sold his company. He used to wrap them, and I just disagreed with him doing it. But you wrap that, it starts falling off, it just breaks the lights. That's what it does. And we've done this on a Christmas palm is usually a trio of palms. They're younger, they're shorter, and they grow very fast. And we have done this for some people where the thing will be so short, where like you've got like a 4-foot trunk, and 1.5 feet of it is that green area. They want us to do the whole thing. So we've tried this before, where we just zip tie it. We take a thick zip tie, put 3 of them on. All that does is buy you a little bit more time. It will not last the whole season. And then it breaks it and it pops it. So stay away from that. Just wrap it up to the bottom of that green area. Royals, I keep talking about royals. Royals are different than every other type of palm tree. I used to call them ice skating rinks. They're so slippery. The issues with that, of course, is like if you're on a coconut palm, you have a lot of texture. You're not going to have issues with slipping. Like sable, date palm, there's texture. It gets caught in the grooves. It's not going to go anywhere. But on a royal, you wrap it too tight, and these trees expand, swell, temperature change. You wrap it too tight, expands, it's going to pop the lights. You wrap it too loose, it's going to slip, and it's going to look terrible. It's very, very tricky. that's where this product that came in, this Treesy wrap. So I met Pat, the owner of that, the founder of that, at Transworld in 2020, and he was brand new. He was selling them all himself. I think I'm not sure if I know some of it they took overseas, but they made some in the country for a while. But this plastic clip is fantastic that he makes, and we pretty much only use it on Royals. I'm thinking of this one tree right now. Before we got that product, there's this one house where we had to rewrap this tree 3 times in one season, and the issue is like, you ever see a palm tree that looks like an hourglass, like it comes in and then it goes out and it's like this? Well, it's because it had inconsistent watering, most likely at the farm before it got moved to that community and planted. So now you have an issue where it tapers down, right? So it naturally wants to slide down that. So it's going to slip. So the Treesy wrap is just perfect for holding it in place on those. Like most every other type of palm tree has enough texture so that you don't have an issue.
Well,
but I was talking.
I saw in your video you did a walkthrough of your warehouse, just even as a post, a story or something the other day, and I saw on the wall right by the door, and you had all the different types of palm trees laid out in your warehouse. And what I love about that when I saw it is that the same thing is we may teach somebody here, or people buy product from us and stuff, and maybe they're new, and I'm like, well, how are you decorating that tree? Because they want to know, like, what should I quote this for? What's good? Like all the different experience that you're saying. And I told them, I says, well, you got to understand the trees in your area. Like we have live oaks around here. We don't really branch wrap live oaks. We have different methods and of decorating them. But then you have red oaks, and it's like, though, depending on the type of tree that is in our area, we have a couple options, but we'll have to approach it this way, and then we won't have problems with it, But I do know you can go to the Texas A&M agricultural website, and you can type in your zip code, and it'll pop open all the species and trees and bushes and shrubbery that are native to that area in that zip code. Which I was like, open it up, and how would you decorate this tree? How would you decorate this tree? And it's like, well, I've never even seen this tree. And it's like, that tree's right down the road. Let's go take a look at it. And so
you want to be able to speak with your customers about this. If you can understand the names of these plants and trees, like that's a very helpful thing. It's a good thing to be informed with all that, for sure. For sure.
You were going to say something before I cut you off. I just wanted to say the species things and the trees, and like you're talking about, if it's a coconut tree, this is like, you've looked into that and understand this is how we have to decorate. This is the problems we've faced. And it's nice to know approaching that before and hearing it, educating yourself, so you don't make the same issue. You know what I mean?
I got, and I can go for a little bit longer. I'm good unless I know you got family in town, but I got like two tips on palm trees. Like, they're pricing related, but it's more like install wise. So when we look at trees, like a customer is more in tune with how high the thing is, because that's what they're intimidated by. It's like, oh my God, I can't imagine going up all that way in the air and doing this. But I'm more in tune with how big it is in terms of how wide it is. And I use this term, is it huggable? Okay. So can I go up to this tree and can I get my arms around it? One person, one average worker. Because if you can, that's a one guy job. But we have some of these massive royals that 2 guys, one standing on each side, can't even touch each other's fingertips when they're standing on each side of it. So you're talking so much more material, and you're talking about a situation where 2 guys now have to work together to pass back and forth. And that's the smarter way to do it. It's way more efficient than having one guy if they can't get all the way around it. So that's what increased product cost. That's what increased the labor time to the next level. Because we have a lift, like we have great ladder guys that would rather be on ladders than lifts too. Like the height is not hard when you have one guy by himself. And then the other thing, getting back to more royals, I have canceled royal wrap jobs in cold fronts and postponed them. Now you laugh, like, we're in Florida. What's cold? Well, it's like I'm freezing with a hoodie on and a puffy jacket and like 58 degrees. But you go out there, what happens when it's colder? the light lines are different, right? When the sun is on them, they're more stretchy. So again, the Royal is that ice skating rink. It needs to be wrapped tighter. Even when you're using a Treasy wrap, you want that to be tight. So if we went out there in 55 degrees, which is freezing for me, 60 degrees, freezing for me, and then the next day it's back up to 95, the sun's blasting on it, those lights are going to sag. They're not going to look as good. Now, that's just the level of detail that we've decided to take it to. You know, is that necessary? No, that's not necessary. But I know that if I have another job that I could send people to that's not Royals in that cold front, we can come do the Royals another day. That's going to drastically decrease the odds of me needing to have service calls to make it look better.
But I feel like the Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, they micro analyze everything. They get down to every ergonomic step, and I feel like that's what I love about business is you go into that deep of detail to try to be successful, right? As successful as you can be, and it's just refreshing to hear that you do go into that depth. And to be honest with you, like you said, is it needed? No, you can mess up and then you can send a guy out there in maintenance and you're like, whatever, we still make good money on this project. But it's like, I don't want any of that. That's internal.
And your
problems,
client, and your client doesn't want to call you. You know, the preferable thing for your customer is that it's perfect all the time and they never need to contact you. Now, are they happy when you get there quickly and deal with it? Of course. But everyone would be better if that never needed to happen.
That's why on our proposal processes is we do weekly site inspections, property inspections on our commercial properties every week. And without them telling us or not, we'll be out within 48 hours, you know, except acts of God and stuff like that. But we'll be out 48 hours to fix any problem. But we may have been out there 2 days ago and did a site and then maybe a squirrel chewed through a line or something. And it's like, it happens. But if you're going to get with us, we want to make it that experience where even if there is problems, you're almost not even aware that there's a problem there. We just take care of you. And that was very challenging. That is a hard thing to do because you can commit more man hours somewhere else and make more money. But I viewed that we got to a certain size where I thought it was needed because of the type of company I wanted to be. I wanted to be quality. And
you mean with preemptive checking? That's where, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, like that didn't make sense for us in our early years, but now it actually makes our life easier. Like this is, yes, it's better service, it's better for the customer, but like we're going to get that service call anyway. May as well just take care of it. Like really, you know, I mean, and service calls are a great place to differentiate yourself.
And plus you get back out there, you take photos, you got the glasses, now make a post about it. It's like, we don't waste any, it's like, we're not going out there, nothing's done. Like we're still taking photos and that forces us to take photos, right? It forces us to make sure the quality is, we're still working. Most guys don't go out there. They don't do the weekly site inspection. Maybe it's off. Maybe it's not. Maybe they didn't contact you for 2 weeks that something's wrong with it, but they're slightly subconsciously unhappy, but they didn't communicate to you. But at the same time is now you get to be in it, see it, and know that all your stuff is taken care of because this stuff is vulnerable to the environments. There's too many variables, and that's why it is decorations and it's not a year-round permanent thing where it's in piping and lighting and all that. That's not what this is. And so I think a lot of guys getting into it is they end up not going to, and that's why they don't have photos, is because they don't care to go back. They got their money, and then they don't have this great experience. And guess what? The companies who are doing that type of stuff, they're going to take your stuff and then increase it by 30% and book it, and that, I think that's the difference is the micro analyzing. But dude, this is amazing feedback and knowledge from what you do. I haven't even had this amount of conversation with you ever. We usually just mess each other and just shoot each other some DMs here and there. But you can tell you try to perfect your craft. You try to be successful and you try to make things easy for your crews too. Try to create great culture. I love all your posts and everything. I would like to do one of the last. This is second to last thing, but I really ask people what their favorite quote is, or I like philosophy and stuff like that. Maybe you read a book and there was a line in it or something, but do you have something that was very like, wow, that kind of blew me back a little bit and kind of changed your perspective on something?
I saw your I saw your question there that you're gonna ask me about a favorite quote, and like I don't really have a favorite quote.
You don't
Like,
have
and this
one?
is me looking
Right.
at it. But here's I mean, I have like I still use now I have all kinds of CRMs, digital, everything, right? I still use my like old school Franklin Covey planner where I write out my task list every morning at 5 a.m. about what I'm gonna do because I like to write things down, cross them out. And every one of these days, every single day, there is a motivational quote. And I'm still don't have a good one for you that's written here. But
Well,
I
but
guess I
even
could
with
give you
that,
this, Pete. I could give you this thing, right?
okay.
What I think it's become more and more clear to me with every given season what the key to success in this business is. And it is pretty simple, and it's I think the key to success in any business, and I never used to really look at it this way. It really just comes back to your people, and it comes back to return employees, specifically in a seasonal business. If you are starting from scratch every year, then you're starting from scratch every year. If you can't have return employees, you need to figure out a way to get return employees. If you're constantly retraining, constantly reteaching, it's very challenging to be able to grow. And what allows us to be as aggressive as we are with selling new business is the confidence in our team that we know that we can do it because we know who we have. So, like, and that was where the growth into landscape lighting was so critical because that's what allowed me to keep a few more people busy all year round. And now for the second season ever, the majority of our install team is not a first year employee. And that was last year was the first time I ever had that. It changes everything. It just
Yeah.
changes it. You have your existing team training instead of me training them. You know, I'm still out there training and talking through things, but everyone can help more. And, you know, how do you become good at something? Me, I become good at things by explaining them and teaching them. So if you have guys on your team that are now training the next installer, that helps them get better too. So I feel like so strongly about this. Like I have one guy I've been very fortunate who's been now going into his 5th year with me. Um, you know, another guy coming back on Tuesday. He's in his 3rd season. Like just having someone who's not in their first year. Now, listen, it's not to say that first year you can have phenomenal first year guys, right? You can get someone in who's just as good as an experienced 5-year guy in the second week. You get a little lucky, you make your own luck by meeting more people, you know, all that. But um, that can be the exception. And the thing that's most important, I feel, is just the confidence that your sales team can have that you can perform and you can live up to everything that they're promising. And for me, that's very personal because that's my wife. We need to do a damn good job.
That's right.
We need to make sure that we're doing what she says that we can do. But that becomes increasingly easier when you have guys that can come back. And I think it's something that I work really hard at. I'm a lot more I wouldn't have wanted to work for me years ago. I've calmed down a lot. I can people think that I'm super mellow and chill, and I guess that's a nice, but I can be very intense, and you know what type of person it takes to run this type of business,
Yeah.
and I am all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's
uh,
really good self-awareness, man. I'm glad you say that, and you're saying like you've even developed over time. But every company, even Chelsea, she worked retail, high fashion retail stuff, and how they even psychoanalyze the how the amount of money lost by losing one of your employees, right? Like it's actually is cost effective instead of turning and training, and all this training budgets go through the
mhm,
roof. It's like you get somebody in there and they know what they're doing. Like if I show up to a Christmas light install, man, I could be zip, 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 zip all over the place. But then everybody else is just like, oh, you need cutters, you need this, and they're inexperienced. And then you're not developing. Do you have that leadership? So it speaks to the level that you have been an architect, build the business to be able to retain those employees. And when you retain them and you've got guys that are 3-5 years coming back and they're solid dudes, then you feel even more confident going after the market and then tackling these jobs. It's a
yeah.
wonderful thing. A wonderful
And
thing.
furthermore, it makes it even easier to recruit because I'll tell you, like my guy Darius, who's going into his 5th year with me, well, he can tell the new guys how great I am and how great we are. I don't need to tell them. Like I'm going to tell them anyway, but
Yeah.
he has a different type of credibility because he's not
Right.
the owner.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't say a word, to anyone. They see, oh wow, he keeps coming back. Oh, these other guys, they keep coming back.
Must be doing something right here.
They must be doing something right here. These guys, if you have a whole all brand new team, then it's all on me. It would be all on me to talk about how awesome we are. But when you like with my magazine, I have multiple 10-year employees. Like, I don't think I do a good job thinking about that, but like much in terms of how that's a reflection on us and how we run things. Those people wouldn't keep staying here if we did not do everything we need.
Well, that's a big question everybody should ask is they always say like, how many crews do you have, all this stuff. And it's more, I want to know how long they've been there. Right.
Yeah.
And everybody comes and goes for different reasons. But when people are like, oh, we have 3 crews that are above 5 years, like, whoa, like you're doing
that's next level stuff right there.
Right.
Yeah.
You're next level. And nobody's asking those right questions to understand is of retain those employees in a seasonal job. This is a seasonal position, right? And then you try to turn it into a full-time role. Like we have full-time people, and it's like the best of the season will end up going to full-time, and then it's a validation waypoint. That's what I call them, is validation waypoints. If I say my company's great, I always say it's great, right? Because I always think it's great. Whether it is or isn't, that's hard to judge and believe. But if you say I'm great, it's a whole different thing. You don't have to. It's
right.
You don't have a bias in it. And so
for sure,
I think having employees that are retained, they're saying, I love working here. That's not the owner saying that. That's not any. It's they're creating a.
Oh yeah, they're only going to keep coming back because this is the right place for them, and their presence is. They're voting on that with being here for sure.
So I love it. That's a great quote. The only thing I would say is I like your huggable quote. Is like it's huggable. I'm definitely
we're just a bunch of tree huggers over here.
Yeah, Light Up Naples like to hug trees and get around the street. But it's a very good common thing to say, and people understand it immediately,
Yeah.
But dude, I love this. Go ahead.
No, just like one other thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up here. Like I haven't been talking much about sales and stuff, but I would say like my goal, one of my biggest focus here over the past several months, and it will continue to be, is to make sure that like Katie can focus on our customers, meaning that I'm trying to take off as much other things off her plate that she does not need to be doing. And you need to look at like, we're partners in this business, but she can sell things like I cannot. Like I know how to sell, but she's different. So what does that mean is like, I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support her so that she can do more of what she's great at. So we're going in right now, our 2nd year with her assistant, which is huge. So like now she's in her 2nd year, Katie's assistant, she's working directly with me more as well. And Katie's learned more how to work with an assistant. That is making her even more effective. So
I do like levels, and when you level up, like in a video game, and you're an avatar or something, and you're like, you're level 1, and you're like, and you're like, that's essentially what it is that you've worked with an assistant, you've retained that assistant, and now you can go doing the greatest things that you can do. Like you guys are doing and leveling up each year and just growing. And that's what you say from year to year, like what's different, that right there, that's an amazing thing, but you have to build it. Like you have to start building it immediate.
Yeah. And it's always easier to do it the way you used to do it. It's always easier, but that's not really what I'm trying to do here. At the same time, I'm not one of those dudes that's trying to delegate every single thing that I do. Like there's a time and place for that, but there's also a time and place for me to show up to a property where I have 8 guys going, where I can knock 2 hours off of that day by me showing up for an hour. And that's not that there. That a lot of that gets back to order of operations and priorities, in doing the hardest stuff first, and seeing where the hole is of where the lift's going to get held up, or where I need to have multiple guys on one particular, like the order in which you tackle things is important. But even seeing where the sun is and knowing that, okay, we got to hit all this stuff, and like, let's save the shade for 2 hours. We know that that's going to be in the shade, and we're not thinking about that right now, but I know that everybody's going to be feeling that later. All that little stuff comes in.
I'm telling you that right there, that is like 90% of my job. to make sure
Yeah.
any speed up, any hiccup, anything I'm considering to make everybody successful as much as possible. Oh, you guys forgot this, and there's nobody, and you're that far away. Well, you're going to go over here, you're going to have lunch here, and I'm gonna drop it to you. And I do, and that's what I do. And it's because the amount of money lost in the company or the delay, I may send a runner or somebody else to do it, but I may have a meeting there. And I just constantly put myself in position to where, like you said, if I was there for like an hour, I could speed this whole thing up by 10 hours or something, because it's the tactics, the flow. Give me 30 guys. I can manage a lot of people on a site very easily.
Yeah.
I did that with the fire service and tactics and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm very self-aware. I know if that guy doesn't have cutters in his pocket right now, like I know every little thing,
for sure.
like how many power supplies, it's just.
There is someone in one of these Facebook groups recently that made some, I don't remember who it was. It said something like, what he does the night before is he envisions like how the install is going to go. Like he, in his imagination, I don't know whether he closes his eyes, but he's like, this is happening here. This person is going to go there. And it's like, I'd never thought of it that way, but that is what I do. Like, that's how my mind works. I think through it's not, here's everything this is, here's this work order, go do it. It's, this is what needs to happen first immediately. And this is why. So much so that like we start installing, we use battery packs when we install so that I can have guys start wrapping trees immediately hot. And then someone's working behind them running the power. I don't have to set up temporary power. I don't have to have them. I don't have to have someone run power first and then wait to start wrapping trees. We're getting on it immediately. So there's countless little things that add up to a big.
But I feel like that's what makes company success. That's what I truly do. Is like it's all the chaos. It is controlled, the chaos, but it's seamless. It's just running it. It is.
Yeah,
and it seems seamless from the outside, but on the inside, you're like, man, how was your week? Ask a company of a Christmas light company that does pretty decent, and it's like, hey, what's going on? You're like, don't even have time to talk about this. Move on. You can't even absorb your feelings almost. You just run it. Yeah. And you have that mindset of it's a marathon race. Well, do you have any last words besides that that you wanted to say before we hop off here?
Geez, man. This has been fun. This has been good. It's good talking with you. Like I said to you before we hopped on this call, like I like talking through these things. I feel that, explaining things and teaching things, you better understand them. Right. Yeah. So it's like, I talk to guys in our industry throughout the country every week. There are people that are years ahead of me, and I talk to people in their first, second, third year. I learned something from all of them. Like it's just, and you see, like I talked to where we started with this business. Well, I didn't start in business with this business. I've been in business for years. And sometimes I forget that like I'm drawing from all my experiences from all those other prior companies and other stuff I did of how we run things. It's not as if your company doesn't start when you start the company in terms of your knowledge. The things you learned in the fire service, in the way that you lead your team, that foundation was laid a long time ago, and now you're drawing from it. So that's where, we look really good because we put a very strong effort in our brand to put it out there, but that's been developed from our marketing background in all these years. So, it's just draw from your strengths. It's relationship. People see like how quickly we've grown here, but it's like, we're rooted in this community. We know a lot of people. I've met a lot of people from my magazine. I used to go to 2 ribbon cuttings a week in my first couple of years starting that business. Get out and meet people. I don't know. There's a lot of right ways. There's a lot of right ways to do this.
But that's the thing is ask people what are the things that work for them. What's the right ways that has worked for you? Have some humility. A lot of guys may get some egos along the way. It's like, we're always learning. Everybody's always learning from year to year. And it's nice to learn from other people, But what if people want to get in contact with you, let us know. Like I showed your Facebook page. I don't think you have an Instagram, do you, or anything like that?
So we started cross posting our stuff through Instagram like within the past 6 to 8 weeks. It's not something that we've developed very much. Meanwhile, like with the limited presence that we had on there, like we have had customers say that they saw us through there. I didn't start a page until like we did a house for we worked for Rod Wave, the musician, and like he posted a story of like like we did like a 20-foot tower tree right inside his house. It was awesome. So it's like one of my guys saw it there, and I was like, geez, like this was when I was like, okay, we need to have this, like, because we could have potentially been tied to that, but we weren't. But it's all good. Like, but I didn't even know who he was when we started working with him.
Yeah.
Like this is how
disconnected. We had one customer.
My guys were stoked. So good.
Yeah, I found out last year we had a customer we've been doing for 5 years, and that's their alias name. I didn't even know their real name. And then we've been doing it so long, they ended up kind of opening up to us a little bit.
Interesting.
Like, what the? I didn't charge enough for this one, you know. But to contact you if somebody's in Florida, Naples, and they
like you can direct message our Facebook, our company Facebook page, or you can friend request me on Facebook. That's how a lot of people contact me through that way for sure too. But like some people just message our page too. I see all that stuff. Like I may not see it like immediately, but someone will get my attention. But I directly manage a lot, and then like I said, that stuff, a lot of that stuff's, well, it's all pre-scheduled. All right, other than like something randomly that'll come up.
That's the way to do it. Absolutely, that's the way to do it. But
we didn't always used to do it that way, but it's nice that you should if you can. So,
that's right.
Reach out to me on Facebook if I can help. I like talking through this stuff. That's for sure.
There you go. I mean, I use Messenger, and that's how we communicate. So he is responsible.
Yeah, this whole thing we set up that way for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, it was great meeting you. Not meeting you, but getting to know you a little bit better. And I knew that we had a lot of commonalities, and this just confirms a little bit. I do know, like you're busy right now installing. We're installing too. It's gearing up, and I definitely would love to like recap with you after the season. I know, and any lessons learned there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so maybe something in the future we could set up.
There'll be a new efficiency.
Yeah, looks like you guys are crushing it, and it's inspiring. What I'm saying is, don't stop doing it, because it's pumping me up. And I hope that we can create content to pump you up. But it's like you got such good content that I need to get these guys meta glasses and everything else. We need to start capturing. We look at Light Up Naples is making us look like we don't do anything over here, you know.
Man.
But you're doing great things, and I just want to say thanks for coming on, and have a safe holiday season.
Right on, man. Have fun with all the family in town.
In-laws, it's control. Chelsea, if anybody's met Chelsea, imagine having like 19 of those people in the house right now. I think
a lot of energy, right?
A lot of energy. So, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do hibachi tonight. We even got her brother, who's like Chris Farley. Think of like Chris Farley. That's how he kind of acts and looks. And he's got like a Japanese bandana and stuff that he's gonna put on, like a headband and stuff, to do hibachi and stuff. So it's gonna be fun.
Perfect. Yeah. Sweet, man. Have fun.
All right, man.
We'll have a good year. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Later.